Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget-friendly, and delicious. So if you're looking for some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching. For dinner this first night, I'm making Greek turkey burgers. This recipe is from the Skinny-ish dish. I'll have it linked down in the description box below. I made this a couple months or so ago, and we absolutely loved it. Couldn't wait to make it again. Now, I walked through step-by-step how I made it in my previous video, rather. So I'll just quickly walk through it tonight, and I'll try to remember to link that video down below. I'm going to start out, though, with my side dish. I'm making a creamy Orzo pasta salad. I saw this years and years ago. Jeff Morrow did it on the kitchen. I'll have it linked down below as well. So in this bowl here, I've got some Orzo pasta. Just cooked it according to the package instructions in some salted water. Rinsed it in cold water and drained it really well. Next, I'm going to add some chopped tomatoes, cucumbers, and finely diced red onion, and I soaked the red onion in some ice water. Next, the recipe calls for Kalamata olives. If you follow me for a while, though, you know I don't like olives. Gary does. So I always add the Kalamata olives into his servings, once he's ready to eat it. Next, we're going to add in some feta cheese. In this skillet here, I have some chickpeas. I drained them and then added them to a skillet with a little bit of oil along with some za'atar. And then I just cooked them for a few minutes until they got crispy. I'm going to add those, and then we're going to add some fresh lemon zest and lemon juice. Now, I think the recipe probably calls for you to mix like the lemon juice and the lemon zest and the ranch dressing separately, but I just mix it all together. It turns out just fine. Now, Jeff's recipe does call for a Greek yogurt style ranch dressing. He suggests the Hidden Valley one, and that's what I normally use, but I had this Bolt House on hand, so I'm going to use that up. All we're going to do is stir this until it's well combined, and this is ready to eat as is. You can also pop this into the refrigerator and allow it to chill for a little bit before you serve it up. That's what I'm going to do. I let it chill for just a couple hours. Here are the ingredients I'm going to use for my burgers. I've got my ground turkey. Now, you could, I'm sure, use ground chicken, ground beef, even ground lamb. Never tried it before, but I'm sure that would be delicious. We've got some salt and pepper, some roasted red bell peppers, smoked paprika, dried oregano, garlic powder, feta cheese, and red onions. So in this bowl here, I've got all of my ingredients combined, and like I said, I'll have the recipe down below so you can get the measurements. And then for the toppings for the burgers, this is what I'm going to use. I think her recipe includes a sauce for the burgers, but I'm keeping it easy and just using some store-bought tzatziki sauce. And then I've got some baby spinach, Roma tomato, and cucumber, and I'm going to thinly slice the tomato and cucumber. I'm going to serve the burgers on either some hamburger buns, or while I was grabbing the hamburger buns, I saw these little mini pita breads, and they're the perfect size. They're like the exact size of a hamburger bun. So I'll set both of those out so we can choose. So I cooked up the turkey burgers in some oil. I think my skillet was on medium heat. I cooked these for maybe 5 or 6 minutes per side. With these being turkey, you do want to make sure that you cook them until they're at least 165 degrees internal temperature. And you do want to kind of watch this. They are really, really moist. So, just be careful when you're flipping the burgers. All right, so here are the plates. Both Gary and I decided to go with the pita bread. I just opened them up into pockets, added the burger, added some of the tzatziki, the spinach, the sliced tomato, and cucumber. And then we've got that Orzo salad, and this dinner was delicious. So, so good. Those turkey burgers, if you're not a fan of turkey burgers or you think you may not like them, try this recipe. They are so juicy and so flavorful. I really recommend you all give these a try. For dinner the next night, I really didn't feel like cooking, so we just did a frozen pizza. I had this Motor City Pizza Company pizza in my freezer. I first heard about these from Fallon at Moss Family TV, I think a couple years or so ago. They did like a battle royale of all the frozen pizzas, and this ended up being their overall favorite. And so I've had it a few times, and it is delicious. It is a little pricey for a frozen pizza. I think at my Walmart it's like $9, but it's delicious. So, so good. So just baked it up according to the package instructions. All right, here are the plates. So I added some grated Parmesan cheese to the pizza, and I only add grated Parmesan cheese to like pepperoni pizzas. And I think I do that because as a kid, when we used to go into Pizza Hut and eat, I would always just get pepperoni pizza, right? Because I was a kid. And they would always have the shakers of like grated Parmesan cheese and red pepper flakes on the table. And I was too much of a wimp to try the red pepper flakes, but I would always add that grated Parmesan cheese. So I find myself doing that now as an adult. But last minute, I also decided to add some hot honey to the pizza, which I've seen Taylor Elmore do that a lot, and I tried it, I don't know, several months or so ago, and it was delicious. If you've never tried that, I know it might sound weird, like hot honey on pepperoni pizza. It is delicious. Like, you really can't even tell it's honey. It's so good. I recommend you give it a try. And then I just did some quick side salads, and this was our dinner. For dinner the next night, I tried a new recipe for balsamic rosemary steak kebabs. As always, the recipe will be linked down below. Y'all, this was so incredibly delicious. This is one of our favorite meals of the week. Here are the ingredients that I'm going to use for the steak kebabs. Now, before I get a nasty gram down in my comments below saying, Megan, you said this was budget friendly. It's steak. How is steak budget friendly? One, keep in mind, everyone's budgets are different. Budget friendly is very, very subjective. But two, you all know if you've been with me for a while that I'm a huge proponent of buying meat when it's on sale, and especially looking for meat that has been marked down. So here I have a strip steak. I got this on sale. This is also a great place to use a cheaper cut of steak, like maybe a sirloin, because we're going to marinate this. We're going to add in a lot of flavor and a lot of tenderness and juiciness, so you could totally get away with using a cheaper cut of steak for a recipe like this. I've got some whole mushrooms, minced garlic, pepper, avocado oil. You could totally use olive oil. Some kosher salt, fresh rosemary, you could also use dried, and then some balsamic vinegar. Now, I happen to have this Tennessee aged whiskey barrel on hand. This balsamic vinegar is absolutely amazing. It's so delicious. I get this from a company here in Nashville. They've got a few different locations. It's called the Nashville Olive Oil Company. I've mentioned them many, many times before on my channel. I'm not sponsored. They have absolutely no clue who I am. I just like their products. And I know there's other places other than the Nashville Olive Oil Company where you can get these flavored olive oils, but I'll have their website linked down below in case you're interested. They do ship, but like I said, not sponsored at all. I also happen to have some of their rosemary sea salt in my pantry. I found this as I was digging for spices, so I'm going to go ahead and use this on the steak kebabs as well. So here I cubed up the steak, and I did cut away some of the fat and gristle, and then I whisked together the marinated ingredients in a little measuring cup. I'm going to add the cube steak and the mushrooms, and I had like half of a red onion in my fridge that needed to be used up, so I went ahead and chopped that up and added that into the Ziploc bag with the steak and the mushrooms and marinade, and I popped this into the refrigerator and allowed it to marinate for a couple hours. After that couple hours, I put together my skewers. There was no rhyme or reason on how I added these to the skewers. I'm using metal ones here. If you use wood and you're grilling them, just make sure that you soak the skewers in some water. All right, to go along with this, I'm going to do some twice baked potatoes. So what I did was I took a couple russet potatoes, washed them really well, rubbed them with some olive oil and some kosher salt, some pepper, poked some holes in it, and I decided to cook these in the air fryer. It was super hot this day and I didn't want to warm up the kitchen. I cooked it at 400 degrees in the air fryer for about 20 minutes, gave it a flip, cooked it for another 20 or 25 minutes. How long it takes really just depends on how big your potatoes are. Cook them until they're fork tender. And a quick note, I apologize, I don't have a recipe for this. I just eyeball it based on how many potatoes I'm making, but here's what I like to use. I've got some butter, some green onions I'm going to chop up, cooked bacon, you can also use bacon pieces, sour cream, some shredded cheddar cheese, milk. We're of course going to need salt and pepper, and then I like to season this up. If I have ranch dressing on hand, I'll add in a little bit of ranch dressing. If I don't, I'll add in some dry ranch dressing mix. So all I'm going to do is basically just like mashing potatoes. You want to take out the insides of your potatoes. Do leave a little border around it though, and then mash up the potatoes with the butter, milk, salt, pepper, add in the cheese, bacon, ranch or ranch seasoning, whatever other seasonings you want to use, and the green onions. Give it a taste, adjust your seasonings. We're going to take that filling, put it back in the potatoes, and then sprinkle a little more cheese and bacon on top. And then normally I bake these in like a 375 degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. Tonight though, because I've got the grill fired up, I'm going to cook them on the grill. So I grilled the steak kebabs. These were over medium heat. I cooked them for about 4 or 5 minutes on one side, gave them a flip, cooked them for another 4 or 5 minutes. If you like your steak more well done, you may want to cook them an extra minute or two. And then for the potatoes, I cooked those on indirect heat. So I had that burner completely off, the burner that those potatoes are on, and I cooked those for about 15 minutes or so. I mean, everything's really already cooked. You're really just warming everything inside the potato and melting that cheese. I've got some asparagus that I washed and trimmed, drizzled it with some oil, seasoned it up with some of the Kinder's Buttery Steakhouse seasoning, put it on a little cookie sheet. You can also use a grill mat or a grilling basket. I didn't have any, so that worked just fine. And I cooked these for about 10 minutes. Here are the finished skewers, and once they were done, I sprinkled a little bit more of that rosemary sea salt on top. We've got the twice baked potatoes. I garnished it with some of the chopped green onions, and then we have the asparagus. And here are the plates. So first, yes, these are paper plates. Hey, you're in your kitchen. If you don't want to use paper plates, don't use them. For me, yes, I use them sometimes, but on this night, y'all, I literally did not have a clean plate in my house. They were all dirty and in the dishwasher. So paper plates it was. But we've got our skewers, the twice baked potatoes, the asparagus. I gave Gary some of the Lee and Perrin steak sauce. He loves that steak sauce. It's one of his favorites. We can't find it anywhere near us. We have to get it on Amazon, but it is good, he says anyway. Those skewers, like I said, they were absolutely amazing. They were so delicious. And I mean, you cannot go wrong with cheesy, ranchy, bacony potatoes, and the asparagus was delicious. This was just such a yummy, yummy dinner. The next day was Father's Day, so we went over to my mom and dad's house to celebrate. A couple days before Father's Day, my mom fell and actually broke her arm. I tried to get her to have this at my house, but she was like, no, I can still do some stuff, and your sisters can help me. So my sisters helped her, and Dad made his famous pulled pork. Everything was delicious. So we've got the pulled pork, some deviled eggs. I brought some buns for the pork, and then Mom made potato salad, or maybe Mom and a combination of my sisters made the potato salad. Then we've got some macaroni and cheese. This was just some boxed shells and cheese. My mom picked up some macaroni salad from the deli. Gary prefers macaroni salad from the deli. I've made so many home versions, and he likes it, but he just prefers the store-bought, and so she bought that for him, which was nice. We've got some coleslaw and baked beans. Next, I call these caprese bites. My sister made these years and years ago for us, and I fell in love with them. I make them all the time. I've shared them before on my channel. They are so incredibly delicious and super easy. All you do is you take some bagel chips, and you can even find these at the Dollar Tree. You add some tomato, some fresh mozzarella, some basil, and then we like to drizzle balsamic. The ones over to this side don't have balsamic. Mom doesn't like the balsamic, so we just do a little olive oil for hers. And then we've got some cut up watermelon. And then I brought the desserts. I made the Strawberry Shortcake Cake. It's from the Country Cook. I've made it before on my channel. I have that video linked down below. It is delicious. If you like strawberry shortcake, you'll love this. And then one of Dad's favorite desserts is a coconut cream pie. I didn't make this, but I just bought it. I think I got it at Publix. It was BOGO or something. And I just let it thaw overnight in the refrigerator. And this dinner was absolutely delicious, and we had a really good time celebrating Father's Day. And if you are a father, and that could be stepdad, uncle, adoptive dad, fur dad, whatever your role as a dad is, I hope you had a really nice Father's Day. So for dinner the next night, it was, I'll call it eclectic. Some people might say thrown together. But I just did not know what I wanted. I just knew I wanted something comforting. So I started going through like my Pinterest boards and my YouTube videos I've saved of things I want to make. And I came across a video from Angie. Her channel is If the Creek Don't Rise. I'll have it linked down below. If you're not following her, when you're done watching my video, definitely go check her out. I absolutely love her channel. Everything she makes looks delicious. And she is like the queen of putting things together and using up things she's got on hand. So I know you'll love her channel. But she has shown many times before something called chicken and a biscuit, and it's her mom's recipe, and I have been intrigued by it. So I decided to give it a try this night. I'll show you how I put it together real quick. Oven is preheating to 350 degrees. In a measuring cup, you can also use a bowl, doesn't really matter. I'm going to add in a can of cream of chicken soup. If you are morally opposed to using canned soups, you can of course make your own from scratch. To the soup, I'm going to take some milk and just fill up that same can, add it to the measuring cup, and whisk that until it's really well combined. As you can see, I should have used a bigger measuring cup, but that's all right. So once I've got that well mixed, I'm going to set that to the side, and then to a greased casserole dish, I think this is a 9x9 here. To that, we're going to add our biscuits. Now, Angie said that she likes to use the Great Value, the small little biscuits. I didn't have that on hand. I did have a container of these graham biscuits though, but I checked, and the small container of biscuits I think is like 7.5 ounces, and these larger cans, I can't remember exactly, but I think they were like 14 to 16 ounces. So I just use a little less than half that can and cut the biscuits into smaller pieces so that they would more mimic the biscuits that she uses. But all we're going to do is lay down the biscuits and then pour the milk and cream of chicken mixture over top of it. You're going to add a little bit of pepper on top. She said you can also do some parsley flakes. I added parsley at the end. This is going to go into the preheated oven, and you're going to bake it for about 25 to 30 minutes or until your biscuits are cooked all the way through. All right, I had about 3 of these chicken breast fillets. I got these at Aldi. These were in my freezer. They needed to be used up, so I'm going to cook those in the air fryer. Had a little can of lima beans, which was perfect. Gary doesn't love lima beans, so I'm going to cook those up for me. And then I gave him a choice of several different options for a side dish for him, and he chose macaroni and cheese. I had this box from Food Lion that needed to be used up, so I'm going to cook that according to package instructions. So in this little pot here, I've got the can of lima beans. I drained it. I'm going to add in some chicken broth, or in this case, some water and chicken bouillon. I'm also going to add in some bacon bits. Now, you could, of course, cook up some bacon, but I'm just trying to keep it easy this night. I'm just going to use the bacon pieces as well as just a little tiny bit of bacon grease. I'm also adding just a tiny little bit of brown sugar, and then I'm going to season this up with some salt and pepper. I'm going to give this a stir and then bring this to a boil, reduce it to a simmer, and cook it for maybe about 20 to 30 minutes or until the beans are tender. Here's the finished chicken. I cooked it at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes on one side, gave it a flip, cooked it another 10 or so minutes until it was golden brown. We've got the finished macaroni and cheese, just cooked it according to the package instructions. I did add in a tiny little splash of milk. I've got those lima beans. These lima beans are so delicious. And then we have the chicken in a biscuit, and I did add some parsley flakes on top to garnish. So here are the plates. Gary's plate doesn't have the lima beans. I've got everything, including the lima beans. And like I said, the lima beans are delicious. Those red bag chicken breasts are good. The macaroni and cheese, of course, was good. The chicken in a biscuit. Y'all. Honestly, I didn't tell Gary what I was making for dinner because I was afraid he would be like, wait, so you're making chicken and dumplings without the chicken? So I didn't tell him, and I just let him try it, and he absolutely loved them, and I did too. In fact, when I eat chicken and dumplings, most of the time I save the chicken for the end because I just really love the broth and the dumplings, and that's basically what this was. So you want to talk about budget friendly? I mean, milk, can of cream of chicken soup, and some canned biscuits, and that's it. Super quick and easy. This was comforting, and I don't know how it was so flavorful with just a couple of ingredients. And you saw we didn't add any salt, we didn't add any seasonings other than a little bit of the pepper. So if you all are looking for a good, comforting, budget-friendly meal to make, I would recommend you all give the chicken and a biscuit recipe a try. It's delicious. For dinner the next night, I made a grilled chicken Caesar Cobb salad. I'll have the recipe that I took inspiration from linked down in the description box below. I didn't follow the recipe for the dressing exactly. I kind of combined a couple different things, but let me show you how I put it together. In this bowl, I'm going to add in some mayonnaise followed by some sour cream. I'm sure you could also use just some plain Greek yogurt if you'd prefer to do that. All right, this next ingredient is controversial, I know. We're going to add in some anchovy paste. Now, I know you may be like, Megan, anchovies, nasty, yuck, ugh. But I promise you cannot taste the fishiness. It does not taste fishy at all. It just adds like a brininess, saltiness to it. If you've eaten Caesar salad out at a restaurant, you've more than likely had anchovies. And if you think, no, Megan, you're wrong, I've never eaten anchovies in my life, go to your refrigerator, take out your bottle of Worcestershire sauce and read the ingredients, because I bet you anchovies is an ingredient that's listed on there. I know it's an ingredient in the Walmart brand, Heinz, and Lee & Perrins. So, like I said, if you've eaten Worcestershire sauce and you haven't tasted the anchovies, you can totally put anchovies in this. Now, if you're just completely opposed to it, just double up on the Worcestershire sauce a little bit. But I got this little tube for like $2. It was like $2.50 or something like that at Walmart. So I'm going to add that in. Now, while I was yammering on about the anchovies, I added in some minced garlic, oil. You can, of course, use olive oil. I have avocado on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. Some fresh lemon juice, Dijon mustard, that Worcestershire sauce, some black pepper, and then you can add in some salt according to taste, but you've got some really salty ingredients in there, so go easy on the salt if you do add it. I'm going to add in some freshly shredded Parmesan cheese. You can use grated, the stuff in the can, doesn't really matter. We're going to whisk that until it's combined really, really well, and then give this a taste and adjust the seasonings to your taste. I wanted to add a little bit more pepper. You can add, a little more Worcestershire, a little more lemon juice, however you like it. But that's ready to go. I'm going to set that to the side while I make the rest of dinner. For this Caesar salad, you can absolutely use just store-bought croutons. That's what I was going to do. But a few hours before dinner, I was kind of going through the pantry and I found this package of hot dog buns, and they were, kind of getting a little hard. I was going to throw them away, and then I thought, no, you know what? I'll make homemade croutons with the Caesar salad. So here's what I'm going to use to make them. Use whatever bread or seasonings you want and what you've got on hand. I'm going to keep these pretty simple tonight. So I've got the buns, some of that shredded Parmesan cheese, oil, salt, pepper, and garlic powder. So all I did was cut up those hot dog buns into cubes, tossed them with the oil, added some of the salt, pepper, garlic powder, and the shredded Parmesan cheese. I baked these in the oven at 375 degrees for about 12 to 14 minutes, and I tossed them halfway through. For the chicken part, I've got a couple chicken breasts. I just seasoned them with some garlic powder and Cavenders. I cooked them in the air fryer at 360 degrees for about 8 minutes. Gave them a flip, cooked them for another 8 to 10 minutes. You just want to cook them until they're at least 165 degrees, and then you're going to want to let them rest for about 5 minutes before you slice them up. I'm going to assemble the salads now, especially with Caesar salads. I like everything mixed really well together, but you can do this for separate portions if you don't want to make like one big salad. So to my salad bowl, I'm going to add in some romaine lettuce, and I like to take just some kitchen scissors and chop up the lettuce a little bit. Next, I've got some hard-boiled eggs that I chopped, so I'm going to add that. Followed by some avocado. I just gave that a rough chop, and I'm going to scoop that out into the bowl. Next, I'm going to add some cooked chopped bacon. You could also just do bacon pieces. I've got some grape tomatoes that I quartered. Next, I'm going to add some Parmesan cheese. I just took a vegetable peeler and peeled the little triangle of Parmesan cheese before I grated the rest of the block. Next, I'm going to add in those croutons that we made, followed by the diced up chicken breast. And then that's pretty much it. Now you can add whatever else you want to the salad, but I'm just going to stick close to the recipe. I'm going to add my Caesar dressing and give that a really good toss until it's coated well. And yes, my husband and I like our Caesar dressings well dressed, but you can use as much or as little as you'd like. Here's the finished salad, and here are the bowls. And this salad was so delicious. Last but not least, I'm making foil pack teriyaki chicken. I haven't had this in years. We used to have this all the time at Girl Scout camp, and so it's just really nostalgic for me. These are so easy to put together. So you're going to want to start out with some foil. I like to spray my foil with a little bit of cooking spray. We're next going to add some rice. You could use leftover rice. You could use white, brown rice, I'm sure. I'm just using some instant white rice that I cooked according to the package instructions. I'm going to add that to my foil pack. Next, I have chicken breast that I cut into cubes. You could leave the chicken breast whole if you'd like. I think we probably cut it into cubes at Girl Scout camp, so it was easier to eat, so all the girls didn't have to have knives. So just do your preference. It doesn't matter. I seasoned up the chicken with some of the Kinder's blend. It's just salt, pepper, and garlic. Next, we're going to make like the teriyaki sauce. Really, really easy. Just use your favorite teriyaki sauce, store-bought or homemade. We're going to add in a little bit of the pineapple juice from the canned pineapples. I'm going to add some of that to my cubed up chicken, give it a toss, and then add that to the top of the rice. I also drizzled a little bit of that sauce over the rice as well. Next, I'm going to add my canned pineapple. I have rings today, but you could use tidbits or chunks, and you can also use fresh pineapple, of course, if you would prefer to do that. You can also add in bell pepper, onion here, broccoli, zucchini would be good, but I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to drizzle the top of the pineapple with some more of that teriyaki sauce, and then close up the packet. Now, you want to close it up really, really well so there's a lot to steam inside. And you can absolutely grill these. On this particular night, though, it was storming, so I just popped this into a preheated 350-degree oven. I baked it for about 25 to 30 minutes. Whether you cook it on the grill outside or in the oven, just make sure you cook it until that chicken is at least 165 degrees internal temperature. And here's what it looks like when it's done. I know it's not very colorful, but don't worry, it is so good. Now, for the side, and I actually could have cooked this alongside the chicken, but I didn't decide how I wanted to cook the zucchini or even that I was going to make zucchini as a side until the chicken was like halfway through. So what I did was I just cut up a zucchini, I tossed it with some of the teriyaki sauce, added that same Kinder's Blend seasoning, and then I put it in foil just for easier cleanup and popped it into the preheated oven and baked it for about 12 minutes until it was tender. All right, and here is Gary's plate. I just removed the contents of the foil packet to the plate, garnished it with some chopped green onions, garnished the zucchini with a little sesame seeds, and then we topped it with the yum yum sauce and sriracha sauce. And if you notice, this is only one plate because for me, I just had some of the Caesar salad from the night before. It was so good, and it just sounded really yummy to me this night. I did sample the foil pack and the zucchini from Gary's plate, and it was delicious. So that is a great budget-friendly, quick and easy dinner idea if you'd like to give it a try. All right, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. Hope you got some dinner ideas from it. If you did like it, hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.